question too. What are you eating? They're real human brains. It seems to work. No, they're like gelatin. They're gross. They're gelatin with corn syrup. It's gotten to a point now, that's like the only thing I feel like I'm a real diva about. I'm like, I'm not swallowing this stuff unless you guys are like really, really need it. So we have spit buckets. We have all sorts. They're not good.
Sometimes when you guys cook them and prepare them on the show, it actually looks tasty and I feel gross after. Yeah.
I know.
Hungry now.
This is the thing, is the recipes, some of the recipes are actually quite good. If you take the brain part out, the like stew is really good. Or I mean, I remember we had this turkey chili broth that I got the recipe for afterwards. We just did one, it's probably a spoiler, I'll probably get in trouble, but we did this chai latte. Weirdly, that was the worst one I've had, and that was an easy thing to get right. I took aside our props guy like, come on Mark, what's going on? This is just like a lukewarm, bad, this tastes like off almond milk, you know? That didn't have to be like that.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. I'd like to know, how's it feel knowing that you've taken such a unique part in the history of zombies, not only in visual media, but just in media in general, taking such an interesting turn, kind of crossing borders, really making the undead have a new spin on it?
I mean, it's an honor to be working with Rob and Diane, who've created this sort of subverted idea of the zombie genre. I think like there's a reason it's been popular for decades now, and I think that other shows do what they do incredibly well. Other films, we've got Walking Dead, we've got Night of the Living Dead, all these things that to try and mimic that would have been possibly a weaker choice, and so to be able to be in a reinvention of it and like in a way that we're very self-aware, I feel like it laughs at itself, which I just think is the only reason it works the way it does, because we are a zombie drama, romance, comedy, procedural, like we've really gone for everything. So if we're not going to laugh at ourselves, we'd be in trouble.
I personally think a lot of it has to do with just your acting in general. It's amazing. Every episode you put on a different spin. You're just very likable, very approachable.
Thank you. Thank you. A lot of it's the writing, honestly, but thank you very much.
I would like to know, how was it, like, how did you feel when you got the part?
It was pretty surreal. I was doing a ballet movie at the time, so I was playing a ballerina, and on the weekends was going, I found out I booked the job, and within 2 weeks we started shooting the pilot. And in the interim I was playing this ballerina, so I would go on the weekends for these like frantic costume fittings and wig fittings and try to develop a zombie, which the two didn't seem to go hand in hand so well. It was pretty surreal. I was thrilled because I knew the caliber of the writers, and when I saw the other actors that were involved and the department heads that they'd hired, it's a huge pleasure, and it's continued to be. It's one of those things. We're going into episode 3 we're shooting right now of season 3, and we still kind of pinch ourselves, and we're so grateful because I'm sure it's not always that you get to work with people of this standard, so I'm very grateful.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hi.
Hi.
So I watched the whole season 1. I've never read any of the comics. I'm just curious, can we get like a sneak peek on what's going to happen with season 2? And also, why do you think the...
I reckon there are going to be a few sneak peeks. There's a whole season worth of sneak peeking. No. Season 2 is, in comparison, I don't know, I feel like you guys would probably be able to say it better than me. It's hard to be objective about it when you've been part of it, but I think we found our rhythm more in season 2. I think season 1 was exciting and really set up all of our characters and set up some of the conflicts, but I think season 2 we really found like a bit more of a groove, and season 3 it feels even more so far. So there's just like the nature of eating a different brain each week lends itself to good variety. You know, there's always going to be something different. Right now, I'm probably going to get in trouble for all of this stuff, but I'm doing like a hippie brain, this person who's like a mindfulness practitioner and just kind of spouts like very zen advice all the time. So it's like they kind of just continue to come up with new things. Next episode I'm a dominatrix, so I'm a little nervous about that. I'm like clearing my search history very quickly. The research is going to raise some eyebrows, I think.
Yeah, hippies aren't, you know, all hippies aren't potheads, but the episode that you did where you had the stoner, that was one of my favorite ones that you took on. It was just so funny. Do you have a favorite one that you've ever done, or one that's
It's like choosing a favourite parent or something to me now. I don't know. I loved playing the magician selfishly because I got to learn magic tricks, so I felt like I was 6 or something. And then, I mean, the Stone and Brain cheerleader brain was fun because it was 2 in 1 episode, so that was like, it felt like a good stretch and kind of a good exercise. But I don't know. I'm just glad when people like them, honestly.
Sorry, I have one more question. So, why do you think the casting directors casted you for that role?
Great question. I'm glad they did. You've really done some hard hitters here. I think, I don't know, I guess I pride myself on not being too easily typecastable. I don't try to play the same thing over and over again, and I feel like with this show, it calls upon somebody who doesn't have like a go-to thing that they play. So maybe that, and luckily I managed to trick them into doing it. It was good. Good job. Thanks.
Alright, thank you so much for your response.
Thank you. If I became a zombie, I think Liv is pretty inspiring. She managed it pretty well. Like, I wouldn't want to kill people, ideally. It's not on my kind of to-do list. So maybe like, working somewhere with already dead people seems like a good start. I don't know, I mean, I would be shocking. I'd be terrible. I'm more scared of, like, the idea of a zombie apocalypse. When people say, how would you, would you run, would you hide? I'm just such a coward. I would be terrible. I'd put on a bike helmet to, like, try and sort of steer away, like, it's a start. It's accessible, I have one at home. But I don't know, I'd be useless. I'm glad I'm playing somebody who's much more savvy than I am. Thank you.
So first of all, best theme song of any show ever.
Isn't it the greatest? I'm so proud of our theme song.
There's no words, so we make it work. Second, and I'm glad no one else asked, you almost answered it. What personality or person would you want to kind of portray or take on?
Okay, it's a bizarre one. It's definitely not people's guess, I don't think, but has anyone here listened to Serial?
Yeah.
Okay, Adnan. I want to eat Adnan's brain so bad. Adnan's, I'll take, what's his name? What's the Making a Murderer guy? Stephen Avery. I'll take him. I want to just be able to give people an honest account of what actually happened. Because you can never know. We're always speculating. And, I mean, whatever, everybody's got their opinions on whether people did and didn't do things, but just to be able to get that, like, clarity about these highly contentious crimes. I'll do that, yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you for the chance. Yeah.
Want her to do? Like, what fun things could you imagine would happen in that episode?
It's more, I think, about the specific New Zealanders whose brains I want to eat. That makes me sound awful. I often talk about, like, I love the idea of eating Lucy Lawless's brain, by Xena, or my friend Flight of Conchords. I think that could be really good. Melanie Linsky, who I'm so keen. I know I like follow her schedule. She's a friend of mine, and I keep trying to wait until there's windows and put the pressure on. There's tons of Kiwis whose brains specifically I want to eat. I feel like, what would be the characteristics that stand out the most? Here's one of them right now. Maybe, like, we can be very laid back. I heard a really good comic, actually. This is talking about an Australian, but it's a similar thing, where he said, when you ask an Australian, but I'm going to say a New Zealander, a question, they don't give you an answer, they tell you what the answer isn't. So it's like, you'll say, like, how far's the beach? Oh, not far. Like, what time are you going to be there? Oh, not too soon. Like, we just don't, we're so indirect. We're amazingly indirect. We never answer questions. How's your day going? Not bad, It's just always that. So maybe some of that stuff I'd throw in.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
If you could do a cameo in any other show, like, say, The Simpsons or something, what show would you be?
The Simpsons. That's a no-brainer. I watch The Simpsons religiously. In New Zealand, we have 4 channels on TV. I don't know if that's changed now, but there were, like, limited options. So The Simpsons, Friends, what other ones did I watch after school? The Nanny, Full House back when. Yeah, there were only a few shows that I was like into, and The Simpsons is right up there, so that would be crazy cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there anything you're watching now that you're into?
I'm watching Bloodline, which I don't know. I mean, I think it's an amazing show. It's a pretty different genre. What else do I love? What's on?
Once upon a time.
Once Upon a Time. Yeah, been there, done that now. Come on. Speaking of though, hopefully we're trying to work it out. We've been trying to work it out for a while. It's hard because of the schedules, but I would love to go back and do some more on Once Upon a Time. I love playing Tink, and I love that game. So hopefully, cameo back on that. That'd be good.
If you could wake up with any superpower, what would it be?
It would be the power of invisibility. I'm so nosy. I'm like amazingly nosy. So yeah, just being able to get all of the inside scoop on everyone's lives. Yeah, I'd take invisibility. That's a really weak, catty, awful one, but that's fine. Thank you.
So it's already up here, but I have a question. In the episode when you took everything that was like red, I tried to buy you red stapler, couldn't.
Aw, thank you.
What was like is your favorite color red?
In real life, for Rose, I don't know, I like blues and greens probably more. But I think the idea with that was that was the first time we had created a character whose attributes Liv was going to take so specifically. So the kleptomania thing, that was just her particular obsession, was these red things. So that was more just something we developed for the character so that we could really create a specific Romanian, hang on, what was she? She was a cool girl. I'm trying to remember the term. But yeah, I think that was her thing specifically. But I like red. I actually wear red quite a lot sometimes. It's fun. It's a little sort of when I'm feeling vibrant. Clearly not today. I'm soft. Sorry.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hi. I like female characters that are strong in who they are, and they're passionate in their line of work, and they're interested in finding out who they really are before entering in relationships and things like that. So I like the fact that Liv wants to stay in her line of work and help the police force. But I also love Major. So I'm just wondering personally, do you kind of hope she stays on that road where she's just more an independent person and just helps the people that she loves, or do you kind of hope that she finds love? And
yeah, I mean, I hope Liv finds love for sure, but I think right now with the pending zombie apocalypse, it's just there's bigger fish to fry, and I think that she's not with Major. She loves him very much and doesn't. I think she's wise enough now. They've gone through enough off and on and hurdles that it's something that she doesn't treat frivolously. She, if they were going to get together, circumstances have to be a little more stable, I think. And I think that they make great friends as well, and they have that as a base for everything else. And ultimately, if they become something else, that will be great, and it will happen under the right circumstances. But I think she definitely hopes it would eventually. But I think as well, in the meantime, them all working together and dealing with the really imminent problems, that's kind of their focus right now. And I think, yeah, she's learning about herself too, which I respect, and I don't think it's necessarily fair to drag somebody else through that on and on and on. So yeah. I respect that.
Great, thank you.
Thanks.
So I had heard that Liv was going to have a new romance or a new man going into this season. I know you probably can't say a lot about that, but is that true, or?
I can't tell you much, but I can tell you if Liv gets another romance, I have been promised he will not be killed. Because it's getting to a point where I'm like, when people say, do you want Liv to get back with Major? I'm like, well, does Robert Buckley want to have a job? Because he might die. Chances are, yeah, not a good track record. No, I've been told that they won't put her through that again. They've promised me that. It's too much. But yeah, there's definitely some stuff that we're actually, to be fair, we're only, I don't even know the details yet because we're still so early in the season. So I'm kind of in the dark about a lot of it too. But I know that much, and that much I can share.
Okay.
Hi, I'm not sure if someone asked you this already, but how do you prepare to get in zombie mode every day on Instagram?
You mean like
Just like
chill zombie or zombie?
Like full on, like rage.
The full-on rage zombie, I don't know where it comes from in me. It happens easily and naturally. That's like the least prep that I have to do. No, I don't know. I think to an extent you just have to kind of trust an impulse. And we're moving so fast. You know, I don't have months of time to spend with a movement coach. Like I'll get an episode and we shoot the next week. So, you know, I try to think about like the circumstances that might drive her to that place and think about the context, but a lot of the time it's kind of just like tapping into some sort of rage or like finding some adrenaline. It's definitely tiring. They're tiring days. I lose my voice. Growling. Thank you.
Hi. I was just curious, which Rob Thomas wanted to kill off Rob Thomas?
Okay, Rob Thomas 2.0, we call him. So original Rob Thomas is our showrunner, and Rob Thomas 2.0 is what we very offensively say to the original Rob Thomas. They had become friends on Twitter because of the constant confusion. They get sent stuff for each other all the time. And it's just so our Rob Thomas, ORT, that's what he's going to be. Original Rob Thomas he just loves like playing with those kind of ideas. Once he found out, you know, that turns out that Rob Thomas 2.0 was a big fan of the show, and when he reached out to him and said, you know, would you be interested, he was like jumped at the opportunity and was like, just be warned, it's not going to go great for you, like don't expect to come back. But you know, if you wanted to come up, and he came up and he shot during our finale, which was that two-parter that was so dense to film. I'm so proud of it. I think they did a really great job, but it was like exhausting. It was a really crazy schedule, and Rob showed up and he hasn't had a ton of acting experience, and he just like was in the deep end, lying on the concrete with like prosthetics on his head for hours and hours and hours, and it was like just so down to earth and great about it and fun. We all really loved him, got along great, and we're actually going to go see his concert soon, so he's coming up to play in Vancouver, so it's become like a friendship, which is really nice, and I thought he did a great job. I felt so sorry for the mercenary who had to sing in front of him one of his own songs. I was like, that's cruel. Like, it's like having to like run in front of Usain Bolt or something. You know, you just don't. Certain stuff you don't want to have to do. Thank you very much.
Hi. I was wondering, what was the most challenging brain for you?
I actually really didn't enjoy playing the Archie Bunker kind of bigot, like that character at the start of season 2. It was challenging, I mean, there have been physical kind of elements of other ones or things that I've had to really think about, but in terms of just getting over having to play a character who I fundamentally just didn't like, I found that weirdly, I found it harder to remember the lines, I found it harder to engage with the other characters, and it just isn't somebody who I like. And I think it served the show really well, and it was making a point, and it was exactly what we needed, but I don't think, yeah, weirdly that wasn't the one that stood out as like, I'm excited to get up and go to work and play this character in the morning, and that happens every single other character I've had that, so that was an interesting one.
And is Blaine ever going to get his memory back, or you can't say that? What's developing?
That's a Rob Thomas question. If he does, he's going to be accountable for a lot. I mean, that is the only reason that Liv is even standing in the same room as him. You know, I mean, could not have been a more atrocious human being and caused her more pain. So I think what's been really wise is their exploration of his backstory and him growing up in his own set of circumstances that I feel like we are products of those a lot of the time, and sure we have a responsibility to become something more and be bigger than that, but I think when your cognitive development is that affected by abuse growing up, your behaviours reflect that. So they've done a few different things to try and like give us an insight into Blaine, and also to now explore that without remembering all of these atrocities, he actually fundamentally could have a really good person inside him. So they've written that line really well, I think. I don't know exactly what their plan is for that, whether he's going to get them back.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
It seems like his memory loss is really the only thing saving his life right
The
now.
only thing saving him being on the show, I think.
Yeah, so you should probably just hope he doesn't get his memory back.
Exactly. Hi.
My family and I love watching iZombie. And we noticed that there are like some little symbols that the writers kind of put in, like the video gamer whose brain was rotten, which I'm sure we all heard from our parents at some point, like video games will rot your brain out.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
Keeping up with the Kardashians.
And what would happen in that crossover?
I think there'd be some reaching out.
Mother gets murdered.
Yeah, some murders and some stuff. No, I don't know. Probably a fun crossover. I always think of the shows that shoot in Vancouver too would be fun because they're actually somewhat realistic. The schedules are tough to work around. It'd be fun to do something with like The Flash.
Yes! Supernatural!
In fact, we heard that they shoot all these kind of crossover things, and we're always like, you know, all the superheroes, we're like, guys, Liv's a superhero too. Let's chuck her in a lab coat and then with all the spandex and everyone else. It'd be great. It'd be great. Let's see her in there. I don't know. Crossovers with other CW shows would be a lot of fun, I think.
Thanks for all
Thanks so much. Supernatural, yeah, I heard Supernatural, that could be good too. They'd kill me? No, that's a challenge. Alright, Jared Jensen. Thanks so much, appreciate it.
Black and white movie was playing, and it didn't carry on so much into the second season, but I was wondering if you could shed some light on what the theme was for that, because we noticed it came up in at least like 5 or 6 episodes.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, this is going to be me doing like an interpretation of something I haven't actually spoken to them about. I don't know.
We'd love to hear it.
Yeah, I'm just trying to, well, my interpretation of that would just be that we have subverted a genre that has existed for a long time and has been played in many ways, but we try to do a lot of throwbacks to that. So potentially seeing like black and white versions of things, you know, it's the way it's been portrayed for so long, and now there's a life in colour, and now there's like a version that we've explored that kind of sheds a little more light on those situations. And yeah, I think an homage to old zombie movies. I think there's it really would be me speculating. What else would it be? I also think visually it stands out, and they do that sometimes. You know, like sometimes reading texts on screen, things that can get a little boring when it's just current. So sometimes like looking at phones that work differently or are evocative of another era, those sorts of things can be just kind of pleasant to watch. So maybe that's a part of it as well. They are very symbolic, and there's not a ton of accidents in this show. There are incredible details that I'm so impressed by, and that we kind of, there have been times when I've shot an episode and I read the script very thoroughly before I shoot several times, and I will still have read and interpreted and done all my work, and then watch an episode and see a detail that I hadn't picked up. So I'd be like, oh, that was what they meant by that. So it's, yeah, it's very thorough. I think that's a credit to the writers' room.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. We love the show.
Thank you very much. Thanks for watching. Okay.
I used to second guess myself a lot when it comes to music, and now it's just kind of...
Oh, I'm gonna say Lenny. I'm gonna go with Lenny.